a mindset we all need to have, to change our lives is the mindset of just like not letting outside things that we can't control bother us, right? A lot of times in life, we think, well, this person's doing this or that person's doing that, or, this stuff is happening outside of my control. And it causes a lot of stress and anxiety. But a lot of the time we can't control it. And this is especially with like girls or guys, whatever, in like relationships, when they're worried about what the other person's doing, you can't control it. If it happened, it already happened. You have to let it go. Or whether it's like, getting into college or, sports or whatever it is in your life, if the decision is made, you cannot change it. You just have to move on to the next thing and learn from it. What can you do to get better? What can you change to, get better? You can't really change the things that happen outside of your mind, right? Your mind kind of controls everything. So if you're sad or upset about something that happened already, or, that was determined and you can't really change the outcome, your mind worrying about it is just going to keep your, emotions sad or whatever it is, right? Because a lot of the time when it comes to these outside noises or these outside things in life, we almost think that we can, stop time and change these things, but we just can't. It's not possible. It's not a thing that we could do. And that's something we all have to understand. We really need to rewire our brains to understanding that what we think about and what we choose to, surround ourselves with is what is going to come into our life and what's going to happen. And that could be anything. That could be people, that could be, just thoughts in general, like our subconscious mind. We have to learn to train it to, think positive and to, think good things in life. For me personally, I was someone who was, really depressed at a certain time in my life, and my subconscious mind was always thinking negative thoughts. I had to try really hard to rewire my brain and switch my subconscious mind to only thinking positive. And that brought me to be the person I am today. And that's just how I got to this point. I went through a lot of struggle. I went through a lot of pain to get to this point, but I got here just by rewiring my mind and understanding that my mind kind of controls everything that's going to happen in my life or will happen in my life. For example, my goals, right? If I want to have certain goals in life, if I think about those goals and I strive towards those goals every single day, I understand that those goals might happen in my life. I'm putting a lot of effort and energy to those things, and it will happen eventually, and I truly believe that. But if I think about, things that happened in my past or things that are yet to come or things that I have no control over, I'm just going to stress and be anxious all the time. And that's a big, root to mental illness in today's age, especially with young kids, is the fact of like we can't understand that time is not going to stop, and this already decisions that are made, we can't change those decisions no matter how hard or how much we want to change them. It's just not possible. It's just not going to happen. Marcus Aurelius always talks about, once you understand that you can only control, master your mind and control things that are in your control and not in the outside world, then that's when you change your life forever. And that's just the truth, It's just these simple concepts in life that can change our lives forever. Because I have a lot of people I know, or a lot of friends, or, family, or, people that always talk to me about stuff. And it's always about things that they have no control over, whether it's their friends or their boyfriend or their girlfriend or whatever it is. And I always try to tell them, look, you cannot control this. You can't control it a lot of the time. You just have to let it be. You have to let it be and have peace with letting it be. And that's a big thing, right? A lot of the times, letting it be is the best thing you could do for yourself, because then you understand that, look, it happened. It happened for a reason. It's happening, whatever it is, right? I can't control it. All I could do is fix my mind or rewire my brain into understanding, all right, what do I want to come into my life? What do I want to happen in my life? I'm going to put energy towards that. Every day I'm going to strive towards that. And that will come into your life. You can obviously talk to these people or try to help them. But a lot of the time, at a certain point, you can't, because it's just out of your control. And I think that's the biggest thing for us to understand, is that when something's out of your control, we just have to let it be. We just have to let it go and understand that it's not a lost cause, but it's out of our control. It's a lost cause for our ability to save it, right? So the more we sit and ponder on these things that, we can't control or that we have no say over, the worse our mental health or the worse our, anxiety or depression is going to be, right? So understanding that subconscious mind and just the thinking, like your mind in general, is just what is going to change your life and your entire aspect on everything in life, right? So instead of, going out partying, drinking, smoking, doing these things to, calm your anxiousness or calm your depression or whatever it is, or try to feel seen, understand that your mind is really what's causing this, right? It's nothing else. It's nothing else beside your mind. And no amount of drinks, no amount of, weed, no amount of anything will ever stop this. Because the more you do that, you're just going to cause yourself to be more depressed when you're sober, right? I'll post a video on that another time, but understanding that drinking and smoking to calm your depression just makes you more depressed. They're both depressants. They're both going to make you upset and sad. So you just have to learn to not use those as your coping mechanism. And you have to understand that being alone is a good thing, and being in your own mind and being in your own thoughts is a really good thing if you know how to control it. And just that's a big part of learning yourself and understanding, everything in my control, I'm a control. Anything out of my control, I can't control. And that's all found by being alone and sitting in your thoughts. Now, if you're thinking negative thoughts, which is what happens a lot of time, and that's what people do, they sit in their thoughts, they think negatively, and they get depressed. It's understanding how to change that. Right, for me, for something I did, every time I caught myself in a negative thought, or just throughout the day, I would close my eyes and really deep breath and hone in some energy, feel it in my solar plexus and understand that, what am I thinking about? I got to stop thinking about that. What am I thinking about? And just change it to positive. And over time, you might not feel like it's working, or you might not be that good at it, but over time, you really start to change your subconscious mind, and you realize how much happier you are all the time. It's by doing that one simple trick, that one simple exercise that can literally change your life forever. And the other thing that I really want to touch on is understanding that your mind is such a powerful thing. And it relates to, a lot of biblical and a lot of religious things. My biggest advice is practice that exercise. Practice these things of, focusing on what you can control, focusing on everything that you have power over, and just letting everything else be. And I also want you to read the Bible and see how much it correlates to this, and realizing the wisdom and the power that this holds, and that you can use in your life. And even if you're not a religious person, you're not a Christian, the Bible still has a lot of wisdom and a lot of stuff that can really correlate to your life that I really think that you should apply towards your life for a more peaceful and healthy life. So all these things overall is just really what's going to change your life completely. This is the mindset you really need to change your life and put it into a different trajectory. For me personally, this is exactly what got me out of my depression, got me out of my suicidal stage in my life, and changed who I was as a person completely, right? It's very simple, but it's also very hard at the same time. Just starting is the hardest part. But once you start and really understand everything, that's when it gets super easy. So if anyone's really going through it right now, or doesn't know what to do with themselves, or doesn't know how to think, I really think you really need to just really try these and understand that this is literally what's going to change your life.